Okay, we're live.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the July 2025 edition of the Washington County Committee for Community Involvement, otherwise known as the CCI. My name is Bruce Bartlett. I'm the chair of this organization. Mary Manso is the vice chair, and everybody else contributes um, uh, either willingly or not, depending upon the subject matter. Um, Why don't we go around and introduce ourselves? And I will start and model it. Like I said, my name is Bruce Bartlett, and my interest started like so many other people's interests, where I was adamantly opposed to some land use decision. I got involved and then discovered that there is a lot more to do in land use than simply opposing something. And so hopefully I can make a positive contribution. So I'll pass it off to Mary.
I'm Mary Manso, and I'm the vice chair. I'm also a vice chair of CPO 7. CPO 7 is kind of the area north of the light rail between Hillsborough and Beaverton, although we do include parts of Beaverton and Hillsborough as well. And we go all the way up to the Washington Multnomah County line.
I'm Virginia Bruce, and I'm the chair of CPO1. And I got involved because my mother had been involved in land use stuff in the Bay Area when I was growing up. And although I resented it because she wasn't paying attention to me, I got the notion that the community could be involved in land use issues and could make a positive difference. I've been in favor of and opposed to various developments over the years, but I continue to believe that people ought to be involved in what's going on around them.
Cool. Let's go CPO1, CPO3. Anybody from CPO3?
Hi, be here. I'm Stanley Houseman. I'm in Garden Home, part of West Slope and Raleigh Hills on the side that protects us from the Portland area.
All right. CPO4K. That would be
Janet is the official rep.
There we go.
Well, I don't know if she's going to join us, but
Okay.
I'll just go ahead. I'm Gretchen Diener.
Go
Is
ahead.
Janet?
Janet's hand is up.
Okay.
Can I? Oh, I unmute. Okay, I didn't know I had to unmute myself. So yes, so I joined. I'm in the King City 4K area, and I joined because I wanted to be more involved in my community.
All right. Gretchen.
Okay. My name is Gretchen Diener. I've been a real estate and land use lawyer for 40, we won't mention how many years. And I've also served on 3 different planning commissions and 2 different city councils. I've written a lot of legislation for land use laws, and currently am chairing the planning commission in King City.
All right. CPO4K, 4M, CPO4M.
Well,
Hello, everybody.
Oh, go ahead, Jim.
Hi, my name's Jim Long. I'm chair of CPO4M, and I do it for the money. I need the money, and the pay is so good. I figure that's the way to do it. No, I'm committed to it. I was around working for the county when the CPO program started, and it's interesting to see how it's developed and changed. And all the comprehensive plans were put together, and we're trying to live through it. I also had some experience with Tom McCall, and he really instilled with me the interest in land use and land use planning.
Way back. Jill.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jill Warren, and I'm vice chair of CPO4M. And I've got involved with community involvement, gosh, several decades ago. Pat Whiting was our chair of, she was a former state representative. And because of all this development applications and the floodplains and everything like that, I'm like, oh my gosh. And there was one particular one that was involved in a natural resource area. And so I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? What do I do? She said, Jill, take the anger out. Just act like you're confused and ask questions because that opens the conversation. And it's a skill to do that. So I'm very grateful to have these venues that we can discuss what's going on. So thank you.
Very good. And CPO 4K stands for King City and 4M stands for Metzger. I believe that the Metzger Park clubhouse is named after Pat Whiting, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Very good.
That was during our centennial. We had 1,000 people at Metzger Park. The Washington County Sheriff's Office said it was the biggest amount of people they'd ever seen there.
Can well imagine. CPO 6. Okay.
Actually, I have a question about CPO 6. At one point, Eric Squires was an alternate for CPO 6.
He still is.
Well, he should be let in then.
Oh,
because he's in with the attendees.
There are several people in the attendees that I think maybe should be let in. Maybe they can raise their hands. I'm not sure.
there we go. Eric, would you like to introduce yourself whether you want to or not?
Eric Squires here, alternate for CPO 6. Thanks for the time. Thank you.
Right. CPO 7.
I already.
Oh, you did it.
spoke.
Okay. Stan, aren't you CPO 3? Yeah. Did you introduce yourself
No,
yet?
he already did.
Okay.
You skipped Mary Lou.
Okay, very good. Mary Lou, sorry.
It's okay, I was late. I got involved, I'm CPO 1 alternate. I got involved because there was a 4 or 5 acre forest behind my house when I moved here. And I didn't know anything about land use laws or I'd never been a homeowner before, and I mistakenly thought the forest would just always be there until one day it just
Disappeared.
I heard trees being cut down, and so all of a sudden I got interested. So I got involved in sort of headed up a neighborhood group that actually was successful in stopping uh, a, uh, a development from going forward until, of course, the developer appealed the hearings officer's decision. And so then he took it to Luba, and the neighbors just weren't willing to fork out the money to try to, combat the developers big pockets, so we gave up. But anyway, that really got me interested, and so I've been involved ever since.
All right. CPO 1, CPO
Fran.
8.
Oh,
All right. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Anybody from 13? I don't see. 14 is kind of the banks area. 15.
I'm Paul Johnson. The representative for the area south of Cornelius, known as Blooming, and got involved by hearing about events that were happening in the area. Went to a few CPO meetings. Next thing I knew, I was elected. And I suspect a lot of people, this is sort of how they got suckered in too.
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, well, we
Could I,
gotta, if we
could I
didn't do
add
that,
the Fano
But over
Creek,
the years, I've learned a heck of a lot. I understand how land use planning happens and have a better appreciation for the long range vetting of everything that happens when it comes to land. But I was also concerned about transportation issues and also about safety issues. And those were the things that kept me involved.
all right, well, that's a good segue into our community.
Bruce,
Yes, ma'am.
Fran,
Yeah, I was going to say, yes, that introduces,
okay.
that brings up the Tree Keepers of Oregon representative. There we go. I think you muted, Fran.
Oh, sorry. So my name is Fran Warren. I'm president of Tree Keepers of Washington County. I'm an at-large member of CCI due to the broad range of topics we covered, and we have a great interest. I lived in CPO 6, Cooper Mountain, for 40 years and got very engaged with the transportation issues and the significant natural resources. And now I live in the CPO 1 area. And I'm also on the state community involvement advisory committee. So kind of traverse an awful lot of different groups. So I'm the cobweb.
I just wanted to.
I'm sorry. I was going to say I got involved for piggybacking on what Paul said, is that the general public doesn't have very much training or knowledge, and new homeowners don't know about land use laws, and it's very, very complex. So this group, and you see the longevity of it, it's taken this many years for a number of us to actually understand it and then be able to convey the information to our neighbors. Very different from the other quality of life issues that get addressed across the county.
Indeed.
I just wanted to quickly mention that we don't have chat enabled anymore. And so if any of the attendees have a question, the best thing is to raise your hand.
Thank you.
With the raise hand option, because we won't be able to see you if your actual hand gets raised.
And we appreciate our Washington County staff support from Ika Falstrom, who is a stalwart supporter of the CPO program. So thanks, Ika. And with that, we can begin our monthly agenda with a review, kind of overview, some adroit comments on the Community Development Code Assessment Program by Mary Mansell.
So I am representing the community on the technical advisory group for the CDC assessment. And I'm actually pretty disappointed in how little input the TAC is having in the process. There's going to be 4 meetings over the next year. So we had a meeting last month. There'll be one in October. And so the consultant is doing the work and driving the process. And our meeting last month was pretty much just, reading the printed material that was sent out and trying to get everybody on the same page. There was very little time for comment or input in real work. So today I actually typed up concerns that I have with the Community Development Code, places where I feel it's confusing, places where I think there are places in the code where it's like, why do you even have that in it? Because it's never going to happen. Nobody's ever going to use that. And it just means that there's just extra pages that don't need to be there. But I would suggest that if you have experience with the code and have had issues with the code, please submit your comments directly to staff. There is a link in our agenda that will take you there, and you can send the comments in, and staff will then forward those comments in for consideration by the consultant. So Gretchen actually listened in on the meeting last month, and I don't know if Gretchen has input into kind of her experience and her thoughts on the process. Are you there, Gretchen?
I just felt, quite frankly, that the county had already made up their mind, and this was window dressing.
I think there are opportunities, and I think, certainly if people do have strong feelings and concerns, you can submit those in, if you'd like to copy me on them as well, it would, I think, be good for us to kind of collect concerns as community members. But please, please, please get your comments in. And Bruce, I think that's about all I have to say, unless people have questions.
So that's one of 4 meetings.
Yes, over the next year.
Gone down, and there was the very one.
Jim, you're muted.
Mary, could you repeat the reason why this code committee is even existent, and what the county hopes to get out of it and what you hope to get out of it?
So they got funding from the state, and a lot of what they're hoping for is to streamline the code to make it easier to build houses. The other thing is that the county code has gotten quite thick, and they'd really like to simplify and reduce the weight of the document. And so, part of it is the code was originally written in the early 1980s, and it has not had a comprehensive review in all of that time. They've just added additional layers within code. And it's some of it is interesting. One of the things that we've experienced in our CPO is in commercial zoning where they could do mixed use. A lot of times we're seeing single-story buildings that are just the retail use, that they're not looking at adding stories to put housing up above. And we'd really like to see it made easier or to push more of that sort of building. But in talking to staff, they said, oh, well, no, the problem is the other way. Somebody wants to come in and build affordable housing in that zoning, but they can't find anybody to be on the ground floor for businesses. So it's really kind of an interesting process and an interesting conversation.
Have they used the words clear and objective?
That is another thing that they're going to be working on is removing code provisions that aren't clear and objective.
Thank you.
Fran.
Yes, I think one other thing that they're working towards is that the housing capacity needs analysis for Washington County is due, and it's in 2029 to the state. And so they're trying to get things lined up so that they can have the code and the housing capacity, all these fit with one another. So that was one of the things that kind of drove the funding as well. Again, as Mary said, is to make housing development faster.
Well, and that housing component is definitely something they're pushing for. But there are other changes in there that certainly could come about to make things easier. What I felt was really interesting is they've done a number of group interviews, and one of the groups they interviewed was the building community. And the building community said we like the code. It's fairly easy to navigate, and we see no reason, for big changes, because it's, in fact, they seem to like it because there aren't a lot of changes that come from year to year. So, but there is a web page, if anybody's interested in more details. But the web page is on the county website.
And it's listed in the agenda.
Yes.
Okay. We have one up and one down here. Next is the discussion on the modernization guideline support. And seeing as I have not received a single comment from anybody, I would like to find out if anybody has anything they'd like to say at this point. Mary.
I did send you my comments
Yeah,
just
10
a
minutes
few minutes ago.
10
And
minutes ago.
I had sent them to you earlier, except for I realized I'd printed out the executive summary, and I made pencil notes on the executive summary, which is kind of hard to forward on.
So thank you. There are several areas that there's two issues that I'd like to bring up. And one is our statement that it is unclear what changes are expected to update the focus and scope of the CPO program. And a lot of the motivation for the modernization came from the county administration office, but there was no explanation about how the focus and scope had escaped what they wanted or what they would like to bring it back to. So this is one of the things that our response will request a specific and detailed answer to. What do you want us to change that we're not doing? Or that what do you want us to not do that we are? And again, aside from political activities that are in opposition to public meeting laws, what is there that you would like to have us change or do, or what, and by extension, what do the county commissioners want the CPO program to do more or less of? I don't know. We will ask. The other thing is the membership and eligibility. And there are two parts to this that strike me. One is the membership in this august body, the Washington County CCI. And in doing research, I have found that the other CCIs in the county and Clackamas County CCI are, the membership is appointed by the Board of County Commissioners. And in my opinion, this seems like an inescapable change that we will have. And I certainly expect there to be robust discussion about this at some point. The thing that really I think we universally disagree with is that rather than having the CCI appoint CPO leadership, we want the membership of the CPOs to continue electing their CPO representatives. And the relationship between the CPO elected leaders, which is typically chair, vice chair, and secretary. So the relationship between those positions and the CCI is something we will need to hammer out and understand. One of my overarching critiques of the 5 guideline presentation is that it was incomplete as far as being asked to define an entirely new modernized system. It was like the county administration office said, these are our issues, and the equity office said, okay, these are what we're going to talk about, but there are a lot of other issues. And so I mentioned that so that if you really are hot about the membership assignment structure, send some comments, think about it, write a proposal to change this executive summary. Mary, you were first.
Let Virginia go.
Virginia, you're on.
I wonder if you could just do a brief recap of your understanding of the current state of OEICE or OAO or whatever they are these days.
Well, Mary has done a very good job in querying the new Office of Accessibility. And Mary, why don't you, and so we have asked Alicia Sojourner, the director of the new department, to come and talk, and we will arrange that for this fall sometime. So Mary, what do you got to say about Virginia's question?
I think it's actually two separate questions, because the whole modernization of the CPO is really going to determine our relationship with OAO. And to really, I guess, to understand what sort of support we're going to get from OAO, we really need to know what they want the program to be. And so it's, I've been trying to get answers from OAO about what the current budget means. We've lost Carol, and I've been told that she was only providing 0.2 FTE to the CPO program. But part of the problem is that the budget, the community engagement budget, doesn't include just the CPO program and CCI. It includes a lot more. It includes the leadership training. It includes the support that is given to boards and commissions. It includes, I believe, ACRE. And there's a lot of money that, and a lot of the FTE that is not applied to the CPO program. There's also a problem with the budget in that for the community engagement program, they didn't, the budget isn't balanced, which is like, really basic. The numbers the numbers shouldn't lie. So, that's another issue. But Bruce, I would really like to get this executive summary off your desk and sent. And if nobody has, comments about it, then
let's send it in.
It just needs to go in. And, my suggestion under the membership and eligibility, you had said that not all CCI members support appointment of the CCI leaders by the board. I don't know that anybody in CCI supports that. I think that statement could be changed to the much more strong position is that we don't support that. We as CCI leaders don't support it. We as CPO leaders do not support that.
Well, so so I'm sort of sticking my neck out here in that I see appointing the board appointing CCI members as almost an inevitability.
That doesn't mean we have to say we like it.
Well, and I think, Bruce, my suggestion to actually split the responsibility of CCI. And it's something we discussed during the whole transition back from OSU to the county. Yep. We as a CCI, our main purpose is to come together as CPOs to discuss countywide issues, to discuss issues that we found in our CPO that we have common interests over. The whole evaluation of community engagement, that's something that is assigned to us, and we've never done it. Nobody's ever reached out to us and said, we'd like you to evaluate this. I mean, they didn't even allow us to evaluate the process for the
Civic Leader Program.
Well, the Civic Leader Program, but even the open house they did for modernization. They didn't even ask us what should be included in that. And it's yeah, we do have some expertise there, but we're also volunteers. And should our focus be on evaluating community engagement, or should it be focused on land use? So I think we could actually ask to have the group split. And if they want to appoint the people who then evaluate community engagement, let them have it. But we need CCI to be the roll-up for the CPO leaders.
Well said. Stan, what do you got?
Well, when we were way back in the early 2000 somethings, when we were going through the transition with OSU to the county, and we were in the county and stuff like that, and we had our big hoodoo, hubbala, whatever thing, and our concerns and what the county was going to provide and what they weren't, and da 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 da, and blah blah blah, and on and on and on and on and on. And the thing that, when I was deep in researching this, and I spent months doing this, was that this is a statewide process. This isn't just Washington County. But one of the things that I saw that or found that had occurred in other areas was they were doing this exact same thing. That the counties were taking the opportunity to assign who was on these CCI so that they got what they wanted. And this is just mirroring what some of these other places were doing. And I would have to find my other computer. I would have to go back and dig through all of that to find it. But if you just go back to the earlier days of when this was decided in Salem, you would find this protocol happening in numerous places. And I can't say exactly, I don't have the mental capacity to hang on to much of anything in my life anymore, but it is reminiscent very much of how to reduce the effectiveness of the CCI CPO program to where the county is getting what they want. And
but can we let the county get what they want if we allow them to create a separate organization that focuses on evaluating community engagement? Will we have lost anything if we let them have that piece of it and say, just go away and leave us alone and let us focus on land use?
I don't think so, because what they're doing is this is a control issue. And this is how some of the counties and I'm going to throw some names out, counties, but don't hold me to it. It's just, how long ago was all of this that we went through this? My memory is about 15 seconds. And so Oh, you laugh. I think it's funny too. a lot of
I'm
times.
I'm right there with you.
No,
I'm right
no,
there with
I
you.
laugh a lot of times because I can't remember. Someone just tells me their name, and in 15 seconds, I can't even tell you what their name is and that type of thing. But classical, I want to say like
Clackamas?
the Hood Mountain area, or and closer to us too. I mean, and this was their approach to this whole thing, was to minimize, to accommodate what the state was telling what needed to be done, but they did it in a way that they could still control it. And I just seeing this, and it really disheartens me when
But
I know
we need to stand in front of the freight train, because the county is moving forward with us not pushing back.
we have to push back.
we
We
do.
have to
And
be
it's
not
this.
And I want to add to what you just said earlier, is we need to be adamant that this is citizen, community, personal participation, and we will not stand down. This has become, to me, one of the biggest things that is irritating the bejesus out of me, and I'm trying to be kind here, that we all need to be adamant about not backing down and not giving an inch, a centimeter of anything to them in this regard. And Aka, I'm not trying to put you in any type of position here, but damn, this bothers the hell out of me.
All right. That is certainly true. And at the same time, we need to acknowledge that the program is the county's program, and they can do with it what they want.
No, they can't. This is people. The county is made up of people, not the commissioners. And I am adamant about not giving a centimeter. Now I'm going millimeter. I'm going down to nothing.
Micrometer. Okay, very good. Gretchen, what do you got?
Well, we have two problems. One of which is the state legislature, in its infinite wisdom, has passed more and more laws that take away local control over land use issues. The newest one hasn't become effective yet, but it's land use decisions will have to be made in 45 days, which is ridiculous. But on the county side, the county wants a nice, clean, easy to manage process. I understand from an administrator that's what they want, is a nice, clean process with no ruffles in the water. We have two options. We can scream and yell, and question is how effective it will be, or we could do one of two things. One, we leave CCI as it is, with the leadership coming up from the CPOs, and have a specific land use committee that's made up of citizens appointed by the commissioners that work on the in-house issues and advise at that level. Seems to me that would help the county from the perspective of they'd have some control over who's on that internal committee, but leave the citizen process alone and let folks from the bottom be able to have their communication. The system isn't working now, and it's really hard. That's my 2 cents worth.
Would you say the system isn't working because we do have active CPOs, we have the CCI? What is
but
it?
Nobody's paying any attention from the county to what the CPOs are doing. They're going around us, and that's the unfortunate reality.
Jim, what do you got?
I agree with most of what Mary says and Stan says and Gretchen says. And they all might have been involved, as were you, in the transition from Oregon State University administrating the program to the county administrating the program. And one of the things we learned, I guess, was that the program here was unique. It was funded under a grant, and we had the Oregon State University professors and coordinators helping us with things, and it was a lot more educational and educationally based. And that's what we are used to. We're used to something like that. There's some of us are not happy that it's not educationally based right now. But anyway, I wanted to get that history out there, that we were used to this and it works and we participate because of the setup that it is now. I'm not sure that I will participate if I have to be appointed. It's not a simple thing. I think I'll stop there.
All right. Paul, what do you got?
I'm sorry.
My thoughts are that we have entered a period where we're essentially being considered like puppets, something that the county can manipulate to their will. And when I got first involved, it was with the idea that there are real problems, that individuals who are observing and are close to the problems can provide probably the best solutions to those problems if there are those in government that are willing to listen. But if they're not willing to listen, then there's really no point for our being here. And I see what would happen in the past is one of, okay, where are your interests? And they try to draw us people in to make their input on what's going on in the process and learn from that process. I don't see how that can happen if you're appointed, because then you're just another puppet.
What would you say that the planning commissioner's puppets?
I'm not sure I understand the question there.
Well, the question is that the planning commission is appointed by the same kind of process that they're proposing for at least aspects of the CCI. So if we would be puppets, if we were assigned, appointed, does that make the planning commission, who is appointed, also puppets?
To a certain extent, that's what they are, but there's a difference in that their roles are well defined. Ours are continually changing because of the problems that we see. We're not dealing with one set of problems that keeps reoccurring, but a range of problems that we look at and say, okay, how can we handle this one or that one? What have we learned that we can apply to a new problem? That's just a different way of looking at things.
Okay, Mary.
So I think we all agree that we're not happy with the situation. We're not happy with what's being shoved down our throat. So what I'm trying to do is move us forward. How do we get their attention and say, we want to be part of this conversation? Do we ask for a retreat? Do we ask for, I think we'd all be willing to give up a Saturday if we could actually get the decision makers in the room and we could actually start having a conversation. We're talking to one another and it's like, it's not doing us any good. We already all agree.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, there are differences in, what we think we'd like to see, but it's how do we get their attention? And
well, that's a good question.
This executive summary, I was hoping would be something that would get their attention. But do we ask for a retreat? Watching Acre go through their process for the equity resolution, how they're gonna revamp a new resolution to solve the issue with you know, DEI not being acceptable terminology any longer. It's how do we get that sort of attention? How do we get that sort of support? I think, you know, as things are, all the decisions are being made for us, around us, without including us. So do we?
And I would add that the process has been kind of a herky-jerky process in that there's a straw man that's put up, and before we have a chance to respond to it, it changes. So this has been going on for 3 years now. And it would be nice if the target stayed still. I'm a little bit concerned that when the modernization program begins, re-engages, that there will be a whole different set of issues put in front of us. So it is.
Or all the decisions will be already made.
Well, okay, Virginia.
Hi, Bruce. Are you getting enough feedback here to stiffen your spine a little bit? I just don't think a state of prior restraint and, you know, proactive compliance is what any of us want.
Well, I can certainly appreciate your observations that I am not a firebrand throwing bombs or harsh comments at this point. I don't find that that really serves us. But at the same time, the members here have strongly encouraged me in this meeting to just simply put the executive summary on top of the whole 5 guideline response and send it in. I think that it would be useful information for the county when they actually go to re-engage the process. So I will do that.
And I suggested adding something explicit to the effect of, you know, fox guarding the hen house, that part of our role is to bring up questions about land use. And if we're, you know, appointed to be, I don't believe we're puppets, but if we're appointed and we owe our existence to the commission, how can we be independent? I wish there was something a little more explicit.
Well, I mean, we're going to have to rewrite our bylaws. And in the bylaws, unlike the ones today, which the county ignores the CCI bylaws in their activities. So if we had bylaws that actually matched the county's expectations, I feel that we could have the kind of independence that that we're all expecting to have. But it will take some work to reach that point. But I hear your point that the fox guarding the hen house is an apt metaphor. All right, Stan, what do you got?
I hate to come back. So, the reason why I got involved in the CPO in my neighborhood was because of the Bureau of whatever from Portland in regards to the Fennel Creek pump station and the disaster that thing's been for decades. And Terry Moore was my guidance in how to approach all of that. And one of the things that she kind of said to me was, we as volunteers are professionals in our neighborhoods, in our areas, in our community, because we know our backyards better than anyone else ever will in the county. So as volunteers, we're rare. in what we do.
Weird and rare.
Yeah, of course.
Weird and rare.
Yeah, of course. We're creators as well. As volunteers, we're special in that we care about what is going on around us. If we are unappreciated, we go elsewhere, and unfortunately, we don't help to improve the outcomes. Our communities, from a historical standpoint, and I go back hundred thousands of years in this as a historian, has been built on neighbors helping neighbors, friends helping friends. This is what community is. This is how we survive. This is how we get through the difficult times. And in regards to what Jim said earlier, if I have to be vetted to be a volunteer in some organization, you long lost me. But on the other hand, from a movie that is stupid and funny, never give up, never give in.
Okay. Jim, what do you got?
Unmute.
Unmute. I've got a few things kind of going back to Washington County being unique. I am not in favor of Bruce sending in that thing yet. I think we need to discuss it more. I think there's a number of issues that we haven't discussed here tonight that are very important issues. The effectiveness of CPO4M, and we've been as active as we can be for what we have, has been to provide oversight to land use decisions, and finding that both the county and the cities sometimes go beyond their own community development codes, and they are in violation of them. And it's these violations that it's important for us to have that oversight, so that if we need to, we can appeal. We have had some successful appeals from CPO4M.
I would say you have.
And we need to be able to continue that right. It's important that we do that. So my thought is, I'm not ready for this to be sent in. Like I said, I'm working on it, in my opinion, but there's a lot of little things in here that I haven't dealt with. I know, Bruce, you say we got our homework. Please read it and get back to us. And I haven't gotten the time to do that yet. But what is our timing on this? Here it is, July, August, September, and October. They might start making decisions, or what?
Well, decisions aren't really the issue. It's simply engaging the modernization program as an active project of the department.
So they're still not going to do it, make decisions right away.
Well, I would have to assume that without the process being engaged, there's nobody to make decisions. I mean, I don't know if OAO staff is going to do all of the modernization program management, or if they'll hire a consultant. You'll recall that when the county wanted to create a service level agreement with the CCI, that they hired consultant Linda Yaramillo to do the work. And if you recall, as I do very clearly, that we did 95% of the work on that service level agreement, we would have our work cut out for us defining the entire programming. So any decisions they make are good decisions as far as just something being established. I mean, I am really frustrated that nothing has been established in 3 long years of waving our arms.
Thank you.
Thank you. But if you want to tear apart the executive summary, or even the damn full reply, I would welcome anything to consider. Mary.
Well, I guess it's a matter of would it coming from the group work better than just coming from me? And I know that they have cut us off from doing some things without their approval. So I have a lot of things that I'm concerned about, let's say, and I guess it would be good to put this on the steering committee agenda for a slightly extended period and start to identify more issues than just the appointed type thing. I mean, like my thing about whether we actually deal with cities or not is one thing that the chair of the commission has been saying. No, the CPOs are not set out to deal with cities, and we do it all the time here in Tiger.
Yeah, and we do
so there's a number of issues there, and I want to get that list put together and strengthen it before we, as a group, send something in. So maybe we get it on the agenda for next month. Hopefully we'll meet next month and we could do some more work on that.
I sure as hell do not want to meet in August. That's my stake in the ground. I think we all deserve some time off, and we don't have any. I mean, I think we could work the response and the issues without necessarily having a meeting, maybe a steering committee meeting, but I just said it. Thanks. Mary.
We've been working on this damn thing for 6 months. It's never going to be perfect. And it needs to go in. We need to have a starting point for additional conversation. And I think this is the starting point. So I move that the letter go in, or the executive summary go in with the one change that says CPO leaders do not support, or CCI leaders and CPO leaders do not support Board of Commissioners appointment of CCI.
I second that motion.
Discussion. I would like to condition that on review and finalization at the steering committee meeting tomorrow.
I'm willing to accept that amendment. But
I will accept that amendment as well.
With the understanding that it will go out after CCI steering committee review, and that Bruce will not sit on it for weeks.
I don't know what would ever give you that impression. Gretchen.
I was going to raise the same issue. This has been going round and round for months and months. I spent my time going through it. I'm sorry if some of the other folks haven't had time to go through it, but unless we get this stuff in, like yesterday, it's going to get lost in the shuffle.
Well, there is no shuffle for it to get lost in, but
there's a definite agenda at the county, and we need to be on top of it up front. That's my comment.
Point taken. Virginia?
Yes. It seems to me like the whole county DEI issue and the status of the department that has evolved to still be above us is so much in flux. I have no problem with submitting the executive summary, but I just wonder who's going to read it and with what point of view. I mean, we're not going to hear from Alicia until this fall. We don't even know what the name of the managing department is or who's there. I mean, we can certainly send it in, but who's going to look at it?
Thank you. Ayla.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't join you from the beginning. Had a little grandchild issues, but yay, still here. Is anybody on the steering committee that is not here tonight?
I don't believe so.
So I think it might be redundant to say we have to wait till tomorrow unless there's some other level that we talk at that we don't talk here.
Well, we need to do
Um,
some wordsmithing, and I'm not sure that this large group would benefit from.
Get bored with it. Okay. I certainly agree with Mary on her motion for no appointments. Um, and I'm sorry I'm coming in late, but one thing I really would like to have in this final approach to them is that since we lost the testimonial policies and guidelines for group testimony, I think it's an opportunity for CPO to say, we want a guaranteed concrete pathway to talk to the board or the planning commission whenever we need to, so that their agenda outline goes, Pledge of Allegiance, review the minutes, da da da, and then it says CPO comment period.
Distinct from the public comment period, is it?
That's right, that we are guaranteed a pathway. After all we do and what we put together, we used to have, well, it depends on which policy guideline or you read, but somewhere between 10 and 12 minutes was offered to CPO to speak. However, it had the qualifications that it was at the pleasure of the chair and a few other things. And I think we need to redefine that we have a right to be there, that because we should be elevated in our discussion with them because we come as representatives of citizens, we come as professionals and we prepare to speak to them, just like any other department that comes to them and gets a half hour. So let's say we have an issue and we have 6 CPOs, 3 of them have one opinion and 3 have another. Well, then each CPO, for example, should get 5 minutes, even if we disagree. And if there's some of us that are all in agreement about something strongly, then we should have a panel of 6 people that speak for 30 minutes, or bring in an expert about something like I wanted to do that day about elections. I want them to recognize us as a fact that we bring information to them, and it's not just the other way around. And I want it to be documented in public record. And so people start to understand what a CPO can do.
Okay.
I think it's time to get new representation, how we talk to them.
Okay, I captured that. Mary?
My intent is not for this executive summary to go to OAO. Of course, they'd be included in it, but I believe it needs to go to the CAO's office, Ann Ober, who oversees the OAO. But more than that, it needs to go to the commissioners. And I have had a conversation with one of the commissioners, and she's like, we just haven't heard from you. We don't know how you're responding to this. So it may get lost at OAO, but we need to bring it forward to we need to go above their heads.
Okay, good. Point taken. Stan?
I'm always surprised that we don't have any commissioners ever in our CCI meeting listening in.
That is
just
I agree. One of the things about the modernization, I think, would be to have a commissioner assigned to join the CCI meetings, and all of the boards and commissions that are appointed by the commissioners have a commissioner assigned to them. So, that might be you're right.
Part of our demands is, along with Mary's adamant, much appreciated, submit what has been put together, but with the addition of, with addendums, plural, to follow.
Sure, and it will
Okay.
be a process of negotiation.
Because I do not think we are at all finished.
No.
Because more things are going to show up or come to light or whatnot.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. I mean, this
once I go back and start looking at the old stuff that I uncovered, I'm going to be adding this into how other places have done this and how what I think the commissioners, staff, whoever is modeling the so-called modernization. And I think it should be called so-called because it's not modern on any level. Having participation from everybody in the county should be the goal, not look at how many are here. 18, 22. We got all the 22 out of, I don't know,
600,000.
hundreds of thousands of people that live here.
Well, I would be.
No, it's a million something people that live here. And yet there's 22 of us. And one is paid. That
is a persistent problem across all public advisory groups. There's 0.05% of the population involved in the CPO program. I would be like elated if there was 1% of the population that was actually paying attention. But Mary Lou.
Yeah. I just have a comment about the commissioners being involved with this group and somebody being assigned. I don't think we want somebody assigned.
As a non-voting member?
I think they should. I'm happy to invite people, but like Pam Treese will show up at the CPO one once in a while, and she'll show up at I think I've seen her at the CPO 7, and I think that's wonderful because she's our district. But I don't think this group. I don't think that.
Well, if you look at the boards and commissions, every board and commission has a commissioner assigned so that they keep their finger on the pulse of what the group's doing, and to support them typically. So
that's my point.
Okay,
that's only my point.
I'm almost through. The main thing is, I think people would be inhibited sometimes.
I don't know what you could do to inhibit
say
this
what
group.
was on their mind necessarily if certain commissioners were here. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know.
Jim?
Thank you. I simply have a question for Mary, which is clarity on who are we sending this to? Are we sending it to numerous places like the whole board? What's your thought on this? Or is this something we can decide at the steering committee meeting tomorrow?
I think we can evaluate that at the steering committee tomorrow.
It'd be nice to talk about it before we vote on it tonight, I think.
Well, I think that it goes to the board and the CAO's office and copy OAO.
And Ann Ober as well.
Yeah, but that CAO is Ann Ober.
Well, but it needs to go to both Tanya Angie and Ann Ober.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm calling the question.
And legal counsel.
It might be premature for legal, but Eric.
Hello, folks. On behalf of CPO 6, I'd just like to add a comment or two. The crux of what I think might be a little bit of help at getting this process to move along is to suggest that a well-run CPO solves problems and reduces conflict between the county and the citizens. If a well-run CPO reduces the number of angry citizens on the demands on staff time and amplifies goodwill, I think that is a justification for not only the program, but funding the program, not just with money, but funding the program with the support that I don't believe I'm hearing. And essentially in business, we call this a value proposition. And the value proposition, when I shared CPO6, was I solve problems. And concluding on this is that as either a CPO chair or a steering committee member, one of the responsibilities I think has just been left out of the conversation is gut checking your constituents and saying, no, what you're upset about is not part of the program, or it's part of this program, or it's a state level issue, and just facilitating the conversation and helping people understand. Unfortunately, I think some CPOs have been lightning rods for amplifying conflict. And I'm not expecting that a CPO is to solve all conflicts, but the value proposition here is connecting people. And it's not necessarily solving their problems. But one of the things I see in conclusion is that my opinion is I think the county's occasionally staff just is very dismissive of the CPO program because they think that we're conflict mongers. And what we can do is be of assistance at taking care of the petty conflict that occasionally gets amplified. And I think we need to own that in order to go stake claim on what we want from the county. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bruce, call the question.
Stan, you got something you got to say?
Agenda.
You got something you got to say that's not been said?
Real quick, we're partners with the county.
Okay, very good. Let's call the question. All those in favor of a modified executive summary from tomorrow's steering committee meeting, raise your hand. Okay. 4, 6, 10, 11.
Are there too many people in CPO1 here for me to vote?
Yes.
Yeah.
I never know.
I'm trying to raise my hand. It's not working. Come on.
Okay, well, you're counted. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Here I am.
8, 10,
Real hand.
12. Okay, we got 12. Anybody opposed to this wild ride? Okay, we approve the motion 12 zip.
I'd like to.
Okay. It's one heck of a hobby, I gotta tell you. Moving on. Eric, do you have something else to add, or are you voting? Okay. All right. Well, that moves us to the subcommittee reports. Anybody want to speak for the work activities of the land use subcommittee? I think that might include the significant natural resource. I don't know. So anybody want to speak for the land use subcommittee?
Robert Daly, do we need to promote him?
Oh.
Robert was very interested, especially in historical natural resources, of course, the museum. And he joined us and helped Virginia and everything when we wrote a letter, as you recall, but he is not actively a part of CPO 8 at this time.
Well, but he's vice chair of the
land use
subcommittee, isn't he?
As a
oh, yes. Friends of Helvetia, I believe, is what he's going under. Yeah.
Yeah. Robert, you got any comments?
Yes. I was unaware of the meeting of the other subcommittees until the day before they met. So I did not participate. So there's been no meeting of the actual land use subcommittee yet.
Okay. Okay. And that's fine. Appreciate you stepping into being involved in it.
I can speak to the land use subcommittee and significant natural resources and middle housing. We did meet last week. I'm sorry, Robert, we didn't get the notice out to you in a quick enough fashion. But we did meet last week. We did talk about significant natural resources, and we had an update about that. I have some minutes that I took of the meeting, and then I also have a copy of the AI, the artificial intelligence created minutes. But we did talk about everything. And so I guess for clarity, I understood last month that we had approved the land use subcommittee and that it was going to include middle housing and significant natural resources and other land use issues as we saw them. One of the things that our co-chair, Nancy Fletcher, put together is a spreadsheet that looks at the 19 goals, and I think she's identified 15 of them are appropriate to Washington County. The others include things like coastal areas that just don't work for our discussion. But we have made some progress that way. Do you want to hear the details of the significant natural resources and the details of middle housing? I can run through them pretty quickly.
Sure.
Fran provided an update with her discussion with people from land use and transportation. And apparently they say there's only 2 sites that are under consideration that are on the old significant natural resources maps. Some of the concerns are for transportation and no evacuation options. We're going to invite the LUT folks to our next meeting because one of the main things they're talking about, they're gearing up for a procedure to discuss rural significant natural resources. So we're going to invite them to a future meeting and we'll focus on the rural SNRs. There was concern that mapping needs to be updated and to meet state requirements. They're still using the old maps. And one of our concerns is the time between neighborhood meetings and apps and how long is it. So as far as what was approved in our original initiation, which Robert Bailey wrote up, was we should be putting together questionnaires that would go out to all the CPOs after approval by the CCI, out to all the CPOs, talking about neighborhood meetings and how many development applications they've talked about, and how was the public notice, and how long, and was it acceptable? Apparently it's 180 days before approval of an application, and if it's not built within 4 years, the developers can ask for an extension. We do, of course, want to focus on goal 1, and that's our plan to do. But we also want to heighten responses from land use and transportation in a timely manner. So they're getting out the applications to the CPO so they actually have the full amount of time to talk about them. We had a discussion about marginal soils and the maps for that and the water table. And as the bank's CPO, Ayla was announcing that they did have a 2-hour presentation on hydrology with aquifers and water flows, obviously water flows with gravity. So that's some of what we talked about there. Next, and then we talked about the appeals. And then for middle housing, Nancy was able to report that there is an update appeal decision soon attempting, and it was set out as a type 1 application, which usually does not allow for appeals, but the county senior staff person, Paul Schaefer, said that yes, it could be appealed. There's a time window rationale, and it does cost money, and she might work with the river keepers And she was commenting that the land use people are there. They're just trying to follow the law. And so let's see. My thing is
So Jim,
yes.
Jim, if comments have been submitted by the CPO is a party of record. And the CPO does get free appeals.
I'm not sure the status on whether the CPO
I didn't know
actually
that.
made it. It was a homeowners association that started the appeal.
Oh, okay.
I did not know that though. That's good to know.
Well, I'm not sure what a free appeal actually means.
A free appeal at the county level, not free at the state level.
Yeah, CPO 4 has done those appeals. It goes to the county hearings officer. And it
So
is
you don't
free.
have to pay $250 because we have to pay $250 to file an appeal at the county level. So you're saying that's free if it's a CPO.
If the CPO does it, if it goes through the CPO
Yes.
process and they approve it.
I would have to see the official policy.
I have done it.
Okay.
Absolutely. CPO 7 has done it a number of times.
CPO 4M has done it.
Okay.
What is unique in what Nancy was saying, and it's quite lovely of Paul to let it happen, is that with the type 1, there really isn't an avenue for an appeal process, but they're letting her go forward.
Well, no, it's only they appealed the type 2. There was another, it was whether the lots were legally formed or not. So that was appealed. That was a type 2. So Paul Schaefer has told me when I sent in comments about the land, the actual development itself, which is a type 1 because it's middle housing. And so he said that, but other people in the county have said that you can't appeal it, which I said, if the decision comes through and we're not happy with it, it doesn't make sense to us. If we feel we have grounds to appeal that, I might try it out. I said, I thought, for $250, whatever, it's kind of it's an education if nothing else, but, yeah, we're just waiting to see.
So you would be appealing making the lot of record and the partition.
No, that's already been, that part.
Housing.
No, that part was appealed and the decision hasn't yet been made. And they're holding off on making the decision about whether or not the land development for middle housing, it's pending review because they can't approve it if it's not legal lots. So if it's not legal lots, then they can't even approve it ever. They just say we can't. That's part of the criteria. Yeah. So
I see.
So then, do you see what I mean? So if they approve the development portion, which is a type 1, and we're not happy and we feel we would want to appeal it, then we'll see what happens. Walk in county with $250 if they accept it, we appeal. So it's mixed. I'm getting mixed answers from. I don't have a solid answer. I think they don't know if they would allow it to be appealed, but I can't imagine the county not allowing the public to appeal, to take their right to utilize that appeal process to be heard.
Nancy?
Regardless. Yep.
Generally, type 1s cannot be appealed. Doesn't matter whether it's a county or a city. And the other thing is we're ignoring the 800-pound gorilla that has been forced on us by the state legislature, the 45-day rule, and the loss of public hearings, the ability to have a public hearing. And that's what I am so upset about. And quite frankly, I think we as citizens should be lobbying our legislators to get them to, and it's going to have to be the next session, to back off this law. They've taken away all of our rights for public involvement. Sorry, I'm upset.
No,
You're right.
that's a huge overarching issue in all of this.
Yes, that's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Nancy was told by staff that she could appeal it, and if she decides to do that, she decides to do that, and she'll be breaking some ground metaphorically in that sense. We also discussed the Finley Grade School and some 29 houses that are going to be set up for middle housing around that area. We have this goal, this spreadsheet of the land use goals that Nancy put together, and I'd like to work that in so it's part of our minutes for the meeting tonight. Other things we talked about was having an inventory of what CPOs actually get from the Department of Land Use and Transportation, and their case numbers on some of these applications. Ayla has some discussion about preservation. This would be goal 5. The Banks High School was built in 1919. It was the first union high school in Washington County, which meant that it brought in people from Manning and Buxton and different Mountaindale, different places for the high school. And there's a petition to preserve that. They're also checking out things with SHPO, the State Historic Preservation Office, and trying to preserve some trees, some Porter sequoia trees. So there's a number of issues. I still go down. I've still got some more. My notes were only 2 pages, but the artificial intelligence had 4 pages of notes. So we will be putting together our questions into a questionnaire and have it reviewed by this committee before sending it out to all the CPOs. And there's just a number of things. I mean, for goal 5, having the Washington County Museum closed and some of their artifacts perhaps being given away or distributed is another issue related to goal 5. Anyway, that's it for that meeting. I can also send you out this artificial intelligence created minutes also, which they missed some things. They did definitely miss some of the things we talked about. But I'm going to leave it at that for now. But I would like to get clarification that this is now to be called the Land Use SNR Committee, or Land Use SNR Committee. And I guess I have a question. Are there codes for middle housing, and which goal does that fit under? Okay, well, anyway, that's the report of the SNR Committee.
The middle housing would be addressed under land use in general. It's a new 15-minute city, land use abuse by this governor, and it's that comprehensive that it's going to fall under the whole ball of wax, because where they're doing this infill is hitting our SNRs. So it turns into a double whammy really quickly, for one thing. I will add that I have the PowerPoint presentation on the hydrology from Oregon Water Resources Department, if anybody wants it. Several people asked for it in my CPO. And also, Nancy, thanks again for the great spreadsheet. I gave it to everybody at my CPO meeting the other night, and they loved it.
Oh, good. I'm glad people are using it, or that enjoying it.
I put it on 11 by 17 and we could read it. It was just wonderful.
Yeah, let me know if you want something added. I can add more tabs, but it's sort of, more information can be added to it.
I have a feeling it'll grow, so thank you for giving us that possibility.
Thanks.
One of the other things we talked about is we need to get the county website updated so it calls it the Land Use SNR Committee, and updating the links and making sure that we're going to stay with the same meeting date of the second Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Jim, you should be able to do that by sending an email.
Okay.
And I'm still waiting to get to change to CPO 13. I hope I don't have to wait till the modernization meeting that could happen, 6 months. I've been only asking for 2 years. Still would love an update.
So Bruce, you're on mute. So
yes. So if you want to change something on a web page, list the web page and say, change this to that and send it to ICA.
Okay.
Did we agree that the name was the Land Use SNR Subcommittee?
No,
I thought it was just the Land Use Subcommittee that encapsulated all those things.
They're really two different subjects that overlap each other.
I think we really need the SNR committee to stay focused on those specific issues and the land use to deal with general land use issues. That's my thought.
Well, they're not separate, Gretchen. They're always intertwined. In any single application you do to the county that's land use related, you must address SNR, especially in the rural areas. So,
but in fact, there's lots of issues that aren't SNR, and they are incredibly complicated and convoluted. And I beg to differ with the most respect that unless you really can dive into the intricacies of the land use mumbo jumbo that we have, SNR is such a big issue on its own. It really, I really think they should be kept separate, but that's my 2 cents worth. I've only been a land use lawyer for 40 plus years.
well, again, I respectfully have to add that maybe from a lawyer's perspective, but as a little, peon land use consultant, half of the mumbo jumbo and the hard parts of an application are the SNRs that I have to address within a land use application. So they are never separate in my world.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap, and it's I think time will tell how this group actually accomplishes its work and in what format. And so so if we want to call it
Yeah, thanks. Give us a chance. If we start blowing a cork because we can't handle it all, we'll let you know.
Or maybe the subcommittee makes a subcommittee.
Well,
I think last month we approved being called the Land Use Committee, but at our committee meeting, we felt like SNR should be in there too. So,
okay.
We have 8 great people, but they can only get spread so far. So we have to be careful.
Yeah, the mutual, the interrelatedness and the people being interested in both the land use side and the SNR side kind of argues to having one committee, but it is a challenging structure to get right. Okay. But anything for the transportation subcommittee? I found out that and I have it somewhere, that the South Beaverton NAC on I don't have this quite loaded up. The South Beaverton NAC this Thursday is going to have a presentation by Rachel Phillip of Go Beaverton Transportation System, talking about the transportation system in South County. I thought, because it's so much fun, that I would go to it to see what the NAC comes up with, and Go Beaverton is a group in Beaverton working on it. The feedback from this is, it said it will be used to inform the new transportation system plan. And Fran had produced a report from a conversation with Aaron Wardell that I put into kind of a letter and sent it out to the transportation subcommittee and a few others, and heard from Aaron saying, don't put my name in it. And Fran said, don't put my name in it. But the whole issue of an interconnected transportation system in South County is something I would like to see the involved groups accomplish. So I'm going to go to the South Beaverton NAC this Thursday because I can't think of anything better to do. And I'll give a report on what the thinking is. But like so many transportation projects, people are really, really good at opposing something and are horrible at proposing constructive, effective, alternative solutions. I will just leave that statement hanging in the air right there. Anything else on transportation besides the state not passing its transportation plan?
Well, I mean, if there's all this growth, all this push for production of houses, that's going to cause more transportation problems. So I'm not so much in favor of speeding up the production of houses until there's a transportation plan put together.
Well, you know, that is one of the cruel ironies in my mind of our entire process is that Tigard is going to vote on annexing River Terrace 2 without a transportation plan being in place. And, you know, with all the people fighting the neighborhood street and what's the next level up? The collectors. You can't just oppose collector creation or even arterial without understanding the big picture and working to solve the system that needs to be created that people will appreciate in 20 years.
Now everybody's going to ride bicycles.
Yeah, well, we've proven that to be a fallacy. That is simply not a solution to the need for collector streets.
But if we don't have any parking.
Oh my God.
Okay. I know.
Stan.
Well, you actually have raised a question that I've been questioning for a long time is how best can the CCI CPO program assist the county, the state, as an example? Because if we could do this in one spot, maybe the rest would follow. Is if we're not we need more housing. They say that over and over and over again, but they don't address how you move around with all the additional people, which we're already having a problem with just the today people. So it makes me wonder of just to assist the county to understand the benefit that the CCI CPO program brings is a collection of what if the cities, the county, the state addressed these 5, 10, 15 things to help accommodate the the current population, as well as the influx of the additional that are coming. Maybe that might get their attention as far as the benefit of the CCI and CPO program as what's happening in our own backyards, county, city, statewide. Just a thought.
Well, the entire public participation system in the county was proposed to be analyzed by House Bill 2950, which died in committee this year. But it was looking for a solution, a final report out in 2029, which seems like an awfully long way in the future for something that we need now. to
Oh,
work.
we needed it 50 years ago.
Gretchen, what do you got?
Everyone's
Hi, I wanted to raise an issue that we discussed at the Planning Commission in King City this week, with the requirements of no off-street parking and the narrow streets. We have a couple streets in King City that I can state that it's with cars parked on both sides, particularly pickup trucks and other larger vehicles. I can barely drive my car down the street, let alone a fire engine being able to, or other emergency vehicles being able to safely get down the streets and or negotiate corners. And I wanted to bring this to this group, that I think this is an issue that's going to face every single one of us as we deal with this middle housing issue, that we have a safety issue that's being created by virtue of no off-street parking requirements and narrow streets. I'm sure all of you have driven down streets in Southeast Portland where obviously you can't get two cars to go past each other. Right. And they've had issues with fire trucks being able, and other safety vehicles being able to get safely down the street. So I wanted to bring this. I think that's something that should be discussed at every single CPO. And I hope we would put it on the agenda for a future meeting of CCI with respect to transportation. Thank you.
Point taken. Mary.
Those really narrow streets that you can barely drive a car down, if they don't have sidewalks, that adds another really nasty element to the conversation.
Absolutely.
Ayla.
I'll just throw in there that they are in the process of creating the same destructive, unsafe situation in Banks right now. So, we're trying to stop it before they do it. But one street, the fire marshal said, I can't drive the truck down. I'll have to use my hoses to put any fire out at the end of the road.
Unfortunately, it's state law that is creating this problem.
Oh, yeah. But that doesn't mean that we have to comply. We can put our foot down and say, no, we're not doing it here. We have, especially in the county, we have to start investigating what home rule means, and we have to tell the state thanks, but no thanks. And the cities need to get brave and do the same. But it's a matter, and the CPOs may be the very avenue that cities get protection. They often feel just left on a limb. They don't know what to do. The mayor of Banks is beside herself. I've been down to talk to Kofi at Civil Engineering, asking for drawings of the roads and how are you going to do this and where's the entrance renderings and stuff. They have nothing. It's really sad, and they don't know what to do either. They go, oh, your planner approved this, so yeah, go ahead. It's really quite scary.
It is. Okay. We got any more subcommittees? Should we spend a few minutes with a leader roundtable? What's going on? Topics? Virginia, why don't you share the sheriff report that we got?
Yeah, we had a nice presentation from Megan
Rasmussen
about the sheriff's outreach program. Unfortunately, we have 4 attendees at the meeting.
Damn.
And I've been thinking about doing a survey of our membership to see what they want to hear, what they would come to a meeting for, because I don't know, maybe it's just because it's July, but we need to be relevant to our members.
Well, in a way that that they will spend time investing in.
Right. And people really have become demoralized about development. They're not running to the meetings waving their arms about development anymore because they just see their concerns swept under the table. So we've got to find some other ways to appeal to folks. Mary Lou, you got some ideas?
Well, I'll tell you why I wasn't there because it is summer and I had company overnight guests for a week and that's why I couldn't make it. But I did watch the replay on YouTube. I'm just kind of wondering, can you check and see how many people actually watched it on replay?
Yeah, I can go look at that.
Because maybe there were more people that
but that still doesn't encourage a presenter if they look up
no,
and
no.
more people there.
I get that. I get that. I think probably summer, I don't know, people are doing stuff with their kids. They're on a different schedule.
Well, that's why we take August off. But
I went to the Beaverton CCI meeting and they have exactly this same conversation about getting people involved in their NACs. There's probably a little bit more involvement in the NACs, but getting people to pay attention to anything civic is difficult, a challenge, impossible. One of those. Anyway.
And the national situation probably doesn't help either.
At all. Okay, so any other CPOs want to weigh in on something that you're doing?
I just wanted to ask Robert if he's heard anything about the collection, the heritage collection of the county. If you've heard about somebody being in the building or what's going on.
I have not. Save Helvetia sent in a letter, asking for safekeeping and preservation. I haven't gotten any response.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, Dirk has been out of contact with emergencies, so it's been hard to get any kind of link to the folks. But there was some discussion that when a person came to collect their belongings that they had left as a display, whoever was in the building offered them other things that were there. Would you like any of this?
Oh, Lord.
And this is what I heard. So I haven't confirmed it, but that is an eyebrow raising
Washington
situation.
County garage sale.
Well, you said it, Virginia. It could be. We have no rights to protect it or say anything, which of course is a part of the land use SNR committee's agenda, historical resources. So I guess we're gonna have to get on it.
Oh, that was one of the things that I found in my collection of things, a 1997 published by the Washington County Historical Society of hidden treasures of historical sites and attractions around Washington County. And I will put together this list with addresses and get it out to the CPOs and see if they're interested in preserving any of them.
Yes, and Jim, thank you for offering to come and present at the Banks Historical Society. We're looking forward to it.
Okay, well, the centennial was 23 years ago, and I've got lots of information about that.
Well, this actually raises something that I'm starting to put together in the garden home history group that I'm involved in, is putting together 3 or 4 murals around what's considered the downtown area of Garden Home on 3 or 4 different buildings of the local history through a muralist on the sides of buildings and that type of thing. So it's just a start. But it's gaining traction. And I've been thinking and trying to develop this thing for about 5 or 6 years now. But it looks like it might actually come together some way or other. So thank you.
Stan, I've got some things to show you. I made a similar suggestion at the North Plains Historical Society that Dorothy Winter had wondered what all these metal buildings were at the west end of town and could something happen with them. And they have some beautiful murals up now, historical murals of it being a railroad town and the water tanks and the old schools and things. It's very nicely done.
I would love to see that, Jim.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
We can try and do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on out to the Garlic Festival. It'll be for 3 days. That's
Yes,
Friday,
been there.
Saturday, and Sunday, second weekend of August.
Yeah.
And the whole town will be on display, and we have a parade, and it's a good time in North Plains. Stinky, they say.
I love the Stinky Rose. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Anybody have anything else to offer up for CPO activities? I appreciate that OSU Extension, Nadine Menashe has been making the rounds, sharing what Extension Service offers. I'll mention that I went to the Master Gardener statewide convention last weekend, and I presented the Master Gardener Growing and Belonging Report, which is the DEI subcommittee of the Master Gardeners in Washington County. And it was very well received. We do radical acts like ordering larger aprons for the larger people who would do tabling. And we also map out the access. And we really, really get radical here in helping people in wheelchairs and with mobility issues determine if they can make it to an event. The OSU Extension started a new program called Garden Future, which asks gardeners to identify those issues that are confronting their gardening, and in particular, the new issues that they're discovering as the climate is changing. And it avoids saying, accept climate change, and says, what effects are you seeing that challenge your gardening and your horticultural activities? I found that to be a very effective way of overcoming the political spiel and getting down to the actual, these are the effects that we're seeing. And I made the comment that when I had a young daughter, we made May baskets with flowers that were blooming on May 1st. And now all those flowers have bloomed a month earlier. So my May basket construction is much different now than it was 20 or 30 years ago. Anyway, the Extension Service does still meet a lot of interests that the community has. Anybody else have anything for the good of the order? All right. I would be happy to entertain a motion to end the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, class dismissed, kids. We're done.
Good night. Listen for the crickets next month. Crickets are coming.
See you guys. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.